stuck in life, you should aspire for more. Connect with others who desire to aspire for more. Reach for your goals. When you do, you allow yourself to aspire for more. Dr. Tammy is here to help you aspire for more. Aspire for more.
Hello everyone, how are you doing? I hope you are well. Welcome to another episode of Journey Toward More, a podcast where we discuss topics to help you manifest more. More of what is for you, more of what you desire, more of what is aligned with who you are, and more of what honors you on your journey toward more. I am your host, Dr. Tammy Francis, the Catalyst, strategist, educator, consultant, author, and speaker. And so today's topic is really looking at challenges versus obstacles. Do you know the difference? I know you have experienced both, but what is the difference? And when you're faced with an unexpected fight, an unexpected obstacle, an unexpected journey, what do you do? Where should your focus be? How do you get in a positive mindset to go through it? And as we typically say, overcome it. So today I just want to talk about that. If you've been following me and watching some of my latest posts, you'll see a little glimpse into what I have been going through this last 6 months and still going through as I am navigating an obstacle that has come in my way this past year. And you'll see the other side of it, what I decided to do and how I handled it prior to me revealing what was going on with me. So February 4th is World Cancer Day, and it's a day where we bring awareness to all the cancers and encourage early detection, encourage you to get screened, encourage you to follow up on anything that you recognize or acknowledge is not right with your body. Not all cancers come with symptoms, illness or sickness. Some of them, if you catch them early enough, you catch them when they're treatable, not necessarily curable, but treatable. You'll catch them at a point before you start experiencing symptoms, before it becomes so overwhelming that the process is very layered. And so I encourage you today to do that, to be proactive and not reactive. And that sometimes things are revealed to you when you're not even looking for them. Sometimes there is something that comes to your awareness that prompts you to dig a little further, do a little more research, pursue that thing, which that thing may not even be a thing, right? But it uncovers something like health issues, financial issues, things that may be coming your way that you didn't expect. Those obstacles. So today I want to talk about that because I think that as I think about my diagnosis, and I'll be honest, originally I was going to go through and just tell my story. I even have a podcast recorded where I do that and tell you the process. But this podcast is about us manifesting more, for us being inspired to aspire for more. And I thought that I will tell my story this season as promised, but I will do it in a way that addresses the different things that I encountered during my journey, during my diagnosis, during my treatment. So one of them is recognizing the difference between a challenge and an obstacle, understanding how we typically blur those definitions and how one can be the other depending on where you are on your journey. So I want to, one, highlight that, but I also want to offer some encouragement on where to start. I'm a catalyst, so I get you started. To take you further, you can always reach out to me and connect with me. But I thought this podcast would be a way to kind of reset our thinking. If you're going through something, whether it's an obstacle and it's just a complete barrier, or it's a challenge, it's just this test you're going through, this trial you're going through. Maybe it's attached to a goal. It could be even something positive and fun, right? If it's a challenge. So whatever it is, I thought this particular podcast and this part of my story should be addressing that. We've talked about the positive people. We've talked about pain. So let's talk about what causes that pain. What could be one of those abstract things that causes the pain besides a physical injury? That could also be an obstacle. So let's talk about it. So when I think about a challenge, I think about a challenge being a test. It's a trial that we face over a period of time. It demands that we have an active response. Let me get my words together to this situation. It demands an active response to this situation. It requires great mental, emotional, and physical effort to overcome. And typically, when you have a challenge, it's something that you do. The response is that action that you do despite the obstacle or in spite of, right? An obstacle, on the other hand, that's that drawback. That's that problem. That's that difficulty. It's that thing that will be a deterrent to action. Kind of stops you in your tracks if you want to be real about it. It stands in the way of literal or figurative progress. So it's that thing that just you think you got it going on, you moving and shaking, yeah, and you rocking and rolling, and then it appears. And it seems insurmountable. It's unexpected. It's unpredictable. It comes out of nowhere. So when I think about an obstacle, I think obstacles makes things more challenging because whatever that thing is, now you have to go and think about how you're going to mentally, emotionally, and physically respond to it, to get through it, to address it, to tackle it head on. And so when I think about the challenge, I think, so I guess let me just give a few examples. That may be the best way to do it. So let's talk about working out. It's the beginning of the year. People have all these fitness goals, right? But we have a life and many of us are busy. So when I think about fitness, when I think about trying to make it to the gym, let's take it to the gym. It's not something you do at home. It may even be walking in the neighborhood. So let me take that back. But it's working out. It's this idea of working out. Of course, going to the gym creates a bigger challenge. So it probably makes this drive at home, but technically it could be anywhere. But say working out. The obstacle is that because you are so busy, because you have all these things going on, and your day is jam-packed from the time you wake up until the time you go to bed. The obstacle is the time you do not have available to work out. But the challenge is trying to manage your time, trying to squeeze it in. It's that challenge. That's something that you can actually strategically address, but you got to get over not having enough time. Like, where am I going to put this? Another example, say you fall down. Say you are walking and there's a big old branch. You're walking, you're doing your exercise. Let's just keep that. Let's just add, let's layer this, right? You got your walk in. And in the walking, there's this big old branch. You're listening to your music, you're meditating, you're doing your thing, and you fall. So the obstacle is that branch, is what made you fall down, what was in the way. The challenge is to get back up even though you feel hurt, because you probably feel a little in shock, because like, whoa, what happened? What just happened here? And so the challenge is getting back up. Whether it's physically, whether you skinned your knee, whether you hurt something, whether you're embarrassed, that's the challenge. That's something you can do. You can take action for that. But then, of course, the obstacle is still there. You have to get through that. You got to get over that or around it. So that's there. So that's what I think of the difference between an obstacle and a challenge. The challenge is more mental and emotional, and this mindset thing is really your mind. It's so mental, right? And this particular episode is entitled "The Unexpected Fight." So say you were in a fight. So the fight, in that instance, the obstacle will be your opponent. You've got to get past this opponent to win. You got to beat this opponent to win. But the challenge is overcoming the fear of failure, the fear of losing, the fear of not winning. You got to overcome that. That's mental, right? That's the challenge. That's the test. That's the trial. And I think about my health crisis. With a health crisis, for any of you that are going through something with your health, an obstacle could be financial. Maybe it's getting proper care. Maybe it's recovery. But when you're going through something that's really can be detrimental to your health, is a really big health issue, it becomes more mental. And I remember telling my friends that after my diagnosis, like, this is really a mental thing. Like, the treatment, the course of action or the process is, there's step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But for me, it was more mental, not giving up, keeping going, keep going, to not give up, to try to maintain some normalcy in the midst of this chaos. And this disruption, right? As I said, the obstacle typically stops the progress, whether it's literal or figurative. And for me, it was both. And it's been more of a mental battle and staying in a positive space. So these things that I offer you this season is about that. Is about staying in a positive mindset. Maintaining that posture of positivity. Maybe that should have been this episode's title. But maintaining that particular position. Staying positive. because the mind is so powerful. The mind can really help you. And all of these scenarios that I offered you today as examples of the different things that we encounter in our life and could encounter, or maybe that may happen to us. When we think about an obstacle and a challenge, all of those, if you think about the challenge part of it, the part that really helps you get through this obstacle to break through, is mental. When you encounter an obstacle, we have to focus on overcoming the challenges first. We have to start there. So if I can offer you anything, whatever you're going through, whatever obstacles you're facing, whether it's health, financial, relationship, maybe it's treatment, unfair treatment, maybe it's poverty, maybe it's neglect, whatever that is, that particular obstacle is, start with the challenges. Start with those things that that put you in a positive mindset where you can take action, right? Where you can face your fears and act. So I'm a strategist, so I'm always, starting with a plan. So that's what I offer you today, is when you're going through something, sometimes you have to just cry it out and just do that. Just take a moment and just have a big baby cry moment. I've had a few of those in the last 6 months, more than a few. But sometimes you just have to have that moment, that 5 minutes, and just do it. But once you regain that focus and think about, okay, what can I do? What's in my control? What can I do? And take that step back. Make a plan. Make a plan. Maybe it's affirmations, starting there. Sometimes that shift into the positive space is making affirmations. Go back to a couple of episodes ago when I talk about the presence of positive people. Because one thing that I learned in this process, as I'm offering you in this season, is that know that you're not alone, and there are people out there that's willing to help you. So 1, make a plan. 2, know that you're not alone. Pull those positive people closer to you and allow them to support you and care for you. 3, ask for help. I know when we're going through things, especially if it's financial, we don't want to ask for help. But sometimes the help may not be for that particular thing. If you make your plan, maybe that help that you're asking for is to help push you into a positive space. Maybe it's having a conversation. Maybe it's a book that somebody can recommend. Maybe it's something that someone can offer that can push you into a positive space. And whatever you feel during this time is valid. So allow yourself to feel it. 4, accept the support. I just said that, but I'm going to just label it. 5, sometimes when you're going through something, it feels good to give back. I was watching a video of Tavis Smiley. I hope I got his name right. He was his son recently passed, and he was going out and helping the feed the hungry. And I know that he decided to give it back. And so that may be something that you do. is actually give to others. So, sorry, Ricky Smiley. I'm combining people. But Ricky Smiley, his son passed away and he was giving back. So maybe that's the thing, to help others, do something to give back. Maybe whatever you're learning on this journey, you give back. And a lot of the things that we go through will typically make us so fearful that we start thinking small, that we start thinking limiting thoughts. And so one thing we have to do is continue to think big. Think outside the box. Think how you can do this. Think about all the possibilities and how you can get through it. Don't give up. Don't give up, and work your plan. So if I had to offer you anything, it would be those things. 1, make a plan. 2, you're not alone. Remember those positive people. Bring them in. Ask for help. Accept the support that's offered to you, especially if you need it during this time, whatever you're going through. Help others. Maybe give back. When we give, when we receive, it's good to give. So maybe that's something you can do. Continue to think big. Continue to think big, even about this particular obstacle, this problem, this difficulty that you're having. Don't give up and stay positive. So if I had to offer you something in this episode, that's what it would be. When you encounter the unexpected fight, focus on overcoming the challenges, because then those little bitty actions, those things that you're overcoming, those challenges that are attached to that obstacle, then you'll find that you'll get through it. Unfortunately, unlike the branch that was covering the sidewalk where you're walking or in the park where you're walking, you can't go around it necessarily. You can't go over it. You've got to go through it when it's an obstacle. So, but you just have to take it a step at a time, a moment at a time. Just take it one day at a time. And, and I say that from what I'm going through. That's what it is. Like even now, healing. That's what it's about. And I had to recognize early on that the challenges were the ones that were making that obstacle seem so difficult and insurmountable. But if I just take it one step at a time, that's where I needed to start. That's what I need to do. I needed to do it anyway, despite whatever it was. Sometimes it was just starting my day and getting through the day, depending on what was going on. So this week, today, know that you will encounter unexpected fights. Know that there will be obstacles, those drawbacks, those problems, those difficulties that get in the way of progress, that may actually bring it to a halt. But just know that when you encounter an obstacle, you're also going to have challenges. You're going to have probably more challenges than ever, because it's a layered thing. Like there's levels to this. You have the initial thing you're thinking about, but then you have the different layers. What's the challenge mentally? What's the challenge emotionally? And what's the challenge physically? They're all independent, but they're all connected. So it's really interesting how these things work. So whatever that test, that trial is, it's only for a period of time. Make a plan to get through that, and that'll help you tackle that obstacle. So stay positive. And remember that there are positive people around you. Accept that. And that obstacle will bring pain. However, you can overcome it if you stay focused on the challenges by making a plan to attack that obstacle. Y'all have a great week. You stay positive. Stay on this journey with me. I'll be back another week. If you haven't checked out a previous episode, please go do that. Go check out a previous episode. Maybe that will help you and clarify some of the things I talked about today. Maybe it will just give you something maybe to think about something just a little different. You know, this podcast is dedicated to your mind, body, and soul. And so we're going to talk about all of it through connections and conversations. So we will explore those topics that address these three areas, both directly and indirectly. And I think obstacles and challenges is really getting us to think about those tangible things that are in our way, that those problems that we encounter, but also the challenges, which can be more abstract, because it's not something you can touch. It's not something that you can call a thing, but you just know in yourself it's difficult. It's difficult to keep going. And so then you just have to identify it. So this particular podcast is about that, to serve as a catalyst for change for you, whether it's this moment, this day, this week. My goal with this space is to shift mindsets, explore more of the world, expose more of what's available, and uncover or discover your gift, your dreams, and your goals, which typically are impacted by obstacles and challenges. So be sure that you add this podcast to your playlist, download, like it, give it a thumbs up, depending on what platform you're on. Or give it a kind review, rate it, would be great. I'd appreciate that. Thank you for sharing the feedback. And you can follow me on all social media at Dr. Tammy Francis. I'm Dr. Tammy Francis everywhere. And this podcast is also, the audio is also uploaded to my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Tammy Francis, youtube.com/Dr. Tammy Francis. I look forward to connecting with you in these internet streets, especially if you follow me. I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I'm everywhere. So Dr. Tammy Francis. So I look forward to connecting with you and sharing more encouragement and inspiration, because it is my job to inspire you to aspire for more in your life and your business. Talk to you soon.
When you're feeling stuck in life, you should aspire for more. Connect with others who desire to aspire for more. Reach for your goals. When you do, you allow yourself to aspire for more. Dr. Tammy is here to help you aspire for more. When you believe in yourself, anything is possible. Believe in yourself, you'll get more. You should aspire for more. Aspire for more. You should aspire for more. You should aspire for more. You should aspire for more.